Hey, my friends, Greg Denning here. Man, can I just say how much I love helping people get results? It is the most exciting and most fulfilling thing to be coaching people, do high performance coaching where they get to level up every area of their life. I did some coaching sessions today, and one of my clients, just an awesome guy. He's been successful his whole life, and he's just phenomenal husband and father and businessman and athlete. And he said today, we've been working together for 12 weeks. And he said, in the last 12 weeks, I've gotten healthier in every single area of my life. And then he said, upon reflection, like, man, there isn't an area of my life that's really suffering right now. Just leveling up everything. And that's what high performance coaching is. Just leveling up every area of your life all together, right? Just leveling up, getting high performance in every area. So it's not like, oh, doing okay over here, and oh shoot, now I have to go over here and neglect this and neglect that, but it's all leveling up. It's so awesome. But right now, I want to talk about marriage and relationships, and this is so important. I did some marriage coaching today too, and I love to do that. Love working with couples and helping bring back the spark and the romance and the excitement back to marriage, because you guys, it's easy to slip into what I call being transactional in our relationships, where we're taking care of the kids, we're taking care of the bills, taking care of the house, running errands, doing work, we're doing all those things, and the years start coming along in the marriage, and it's easy to lose that excitement and the romance and the passion that's used to be there that brought us together in the first place. And so my job when I'm doing marriage coaching is to help bring that back, get that spark and passion and romance and love, just to fall in love again, right? And to stop being transactional. We have to take care of the transactions. We have to get everything done. But in the midst of that, we can do little things that make it transformational. And so we can move from merely being transactional to being transformational. And there's one main thing I want to talk to you about that very thing. And it's this idea that men and women are so different. And you're like, okay, thank you, Captain Obvious. Like, they're different. And cognitively, we all know that, right? Like, oh, men and women are we're just different. And then you slow down a minute, you think about it, and you're like, yeah, well, we think differently. But here's what's fascinating. Very few people, even though we've been married for a long time, very few people take action and are deliberate and intentional in trying to understand each other and our differences. Like, I know my wife thinks differently than I do. Just women are different. They think different. They act differently. They process differently. And you know that, right? But very few people do it. Again, common sense isn't always common practice. How often, when you're going to engage with your spouse or with someone else of different sex, and you just think, how can I try to see it from their perspective? How can I try to understand how they think about things, how they process things, what they're experiencing, what they're feeling? And we often shoot ourselves in the foot. It is self-sabotage and relationship sabotage to try to see the other person as I am, and for them to see me as they are. But I have to see her as she is, and she has to see me as I am. And my friends, like, this is gold right here. I'm hooking you up. If you will do this, this will change your relationships. And so many of the communication struggles that happen in marriages are because we're not giving ourselves and our spouse grace around our decision making, around our conversations, around our perspectives, around our differences, around our disagreements. And so I want you to give yourself some space, some padding, some grace. And so instead of going in with a sharp edge, which cuts and bruises and hurts, go in with a soft edge. Realize that you might not be seeing it as clearly as you think you do, right? And even if you see it clearly, realize that the person you're interacting with sees it totally differently. Now, that's the hardest part for us because we get in our own heads and we think, and again, women do this, men do this, and we do it separately. And we think, oh my goodness, I see this so clearly. How can they not see it as clearly as I can see it? And we think the other person is being ridiculous or blind or whatever. And so then we start to criticize, we start to get angry, we say mean things, and we clash instead of trying to understand each other. One of the best things I ever did was study books about women and talk to my wife openly and say, how do you see this? How are you processing it? How are you feeling? And not thinking like I think, but trying to think like she thinks. And when I began to understand how differently she thinks, like she'll describe it the way her mind thinks, like a bowl of spaghetti with all these different things intermingled, or her brain has all kinds of tabs open and all kinds of processing and all these different things thinking at the same time and all kind of affecting each other, where for most men, our brain's kind of just organized in boxes and we can turn on one and then turn it off and turn on the other. And we can see just real logical and it's just this. And what in the world does that have to do with this? But for women, a lot of it's connected. And I'm generalizing here, but for most parts, there's some different kinds of thinking and processing. My friends, if we'll study that, read the books, have those open dialogues, then it's so much easier to communicate. And I can literally anticipate how she's going to process it or think about it. And I can do all kinds of preventative stuff to prevent disagreements or arguments. And then when we start to disagree and have different perspectives, I can pause and go, oh, okay, I think about it like this. She thinks about it like this. Where can we find common ground? You guys, I'm telling you, this is gold right here. This will save you so much heartache. But you have to practice it. You have to think like this. You can't just watch this and go, yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Oh, men and women are different. Thanks, Greg. No, you gotta think differently and reason differently and ask. Go in and say, instead of, why are you saying, oh, you're wrong, you're doing this, why can't you see it like I see it? Say, well, how are you thinking about it? And how are you seeing it? When you're processing that, what's happening? And we can come to this understanding and this beautiful dance, right? This dance that couples do. And when we dance together, we're not doing the exact same moves. We're working together. We're coordinating, right? We fit together so well. And when we do that, my friends, it literally creates an extraordinary marriage. And it begins and ends with communication. So learn how to see and understand how your spouse thinks and processes and feels emotion, and watch what happens. Oh man, it's so good. You guys, please understand, even if your marriage is struggling right now, really hurting, maybe just on the brink of disaster, or whether it's going good and it's okay or even great, it can be extraordinary. You can have all kinds of passion and romance and love and excitement. But it takes work. It takes understanding. It takes communication. It takes love. It takes falling in love again and staying in love. And really trying to understand each other and work through that understanding. And with that understanding, it makes a huge difference. You guys are awesome. Let's all create extraordinary marriages. Let's share this message. Share this video. Pass it along to your friends. Anyone who's married or getting married, share this. And let's spread it with everybody. Let's save marriages. And let's make them extraordinary. Because it's the best thing in the world when you're living in an extraordinary marriage. You guys are awesome. Love you. Reach upward.